father has a sister that needs, what was it? She lives in Ontario. It's kind of distant.
Okay, but she needs some kind of transplant?
Yeah.
Okay, your brothers?
Yeah.
I assume? Right, okay. You're Taylor?
No.
You're Taylor, okay. And Aaron. Okay, and at some point I'm going to need you to come in here on the interview as well.
Okay.
Let me just call and...
Mind you, we're getting some of the best here in Southwest Nova Scotia.
What's that?
Award-winning.
Oh, yeah?
No,
Yeah.
Reyes?
I'm just
Right,
getting...
yes, yeah.
Really?
Oh, that's not a bad thing. My sound's kind of...
Okay. No, it's disconnecting before I get through.
You're pressing the wrong button.
Yeah.
It's not 9.
It's not 9?
It doesn't appear to be. Although when I press 9, I'm getting the dial tone, but then when I dial...
So how much are you on the
no,
cycle
it just
score?
disconnects.
No.
Which one are you on?
FK506.
Oh, really? That's
Oh.
yeah, that's
Okay,
hard on your
that's-
kidneys too.
Terrible and everything.
Yeah. So,
Lost my
Of course,
Yeah.
thank you.
yeah. So this is much better, eh?
Hi, Jim. I'm here at the high school. Do you have a little bit of background on what we're doing here?
And it works. When did you start taking that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's SOS4000 campaign organ donation. Yep.
Right.
Sure do. I could use that all the time. That's why I'm here. Well, we're here for a very special event today. It's going to happen very shortly, a rally here at the Yarmouth High School, and then a little later on a community news event at Jungle Gyms to explain the whole program. It's called SOS4000, and it's for organ donations. We had a story on yesterday which indicated that Canada has a very, very poor track record in terms of organ donations, and obviously this event is designed to pick up the pace, to get the information out there in terms of those who need organs and those who can certainly donate. I'm going to talk to two young guys here at the high school, Aaron Doucette and Taylor Doucette, brothers who now will have the torch. They're, I guess, called the Torch Champions of Yarmouth. And first of all, Aaron, do I have the right name? Okay.
Yeah.
And you're going to be carrying the torch where?
We'll be running down from the high school to Jungle Gyms.
Okay, and that happens at what time?
12:30?
About 12:30 today, so you're going to have a little bit of a police escort and obviously get the word out with this kind of event.
Yeah.
And Taylor, tell us, you do have a little bit of a personal connection with those who need an organ transplant. Someone in your family, although it's kind of removed in terms of distance, but you obviously have a personal connection with this.
Yes, my father's sister needs a kidney transplant, and my father's actually thinking about giving one to her.
So obviously this is a very important message for you. Has she been waiting a long time?
Yeah, she's on the waiting list, and there's so many people on there, I don't think she'll get one from that.
Let's talk to George Marcello, who's with this organization called SOS4000. And George, obviously the challenge is out there to find enough people to donate. Canada does not have a good track record right now.
No, it doesn't. Actually, Canada has one of the lowest rates of organ donations in the world, and this has been going on for too many years, and we really need to address this. And it's going to be through the students that we're going to get this message out. Today, we have Aaron and Taylor Doucette, who are anxiously waiting here. I have the torch actually right in my hands here. We're going to go through a beautiful assembly right now at the school, and these two young chaps are going to carry the torch through Yarmouth, probably beginning at around 12 noon. We're going to arrive at Jungle Gyms at 12:30. And, you know, after carrying this torch and all the passion that I know they're going to put into this, we're going to hopefully try and inspire everybody in Yarmouth to become an organ donor.
Very briefly, why is Canada so far behind in terms of addressing the need for organ transplants?
Well, Canadians just need to realize how important this issue really is. They think it's never going to affect them personally, and someday it will. One way or another, either somebody in your family or a friend or somebody's going to need an organ transplant, and it's only then when you really know how important this is. So it's really simple. Like this is one of the most important things that you can do in your life to become an organ donor. You can save up to 8 people's lives. So just think about that. It's very simple to do. Take a few minutes, talk to your family about it, and if we get everybody in Canada to become organ donors, we'll solve this crisis.
Thanks very much, George. Very briefly, we're going to talk to a person who has been the recipient of an organ, and Vernon Dion, obviously you're a walking, living example of the need and the benefit of a program like this.
Yes, it certainly has changed my life around, being, going downhill for 15 years with kidney disease, and then being on dialysis for 18 months, and then getting the chance, a phone call in the middle of the night that you were supposed to head for the VG for a kidney transplant, and it certainly has changed my life. I'm a local businessman. Most people know, I guess, who I am, and hopefully with the inspiration that George I got from the radio yesterday, I said, Vernon, you'd better get off your butt and show yourself around a little bit.
So it's changed your life, but also saved your life, really, in terms of the health that you have today and what you can do.
It is certainly a different life when you have to go to dialysis for 3 days a week, and now I just stay home and do my regular work and be active and physical and whatever I want to do. I'm not a desk person, not a whole lot, and I like to move around and be able to do my own things, and it's been a great going on 10 years, the 10th of December if I reach it. So thank you, George. I appreciate the motivation you gave me, and I hope it can motivate these young people to in Canada to get going and do some positive things for these people waiting there.
Thanks very much. Very well said. Vernon Dion, the recipient of a kidney, and as he said, an anniversary coming up for the SOS4000 campaign. Very important to get the information out about organ donation. Aaron and Taylor Cassette and George, thanks very much for talking to us. Ray saying, catch the wave on CJLS.
Yeah, perfect. Now I know why he won the award.
Oh, you talk about another kid.
This is one of the crack shots of Slava.
Well, thank you, Vernon. Well, good luck with your event. That's great. Very well done. Glad you were here for that.
Well, George
thanks very much.
Oh, no
Appreciate
problem.
your time.
Pleasure. Thank you
and we'll
for
try to
coming
meet
out.
up with you a little later on.
Okay.
And guys,
I wish we could have gotten him for longer because I think personally he'd be a very motivational speaker. But I've been asked to introduce George Marcello, who's here with us today, and to tell a little bit about him before he then talks about why he's here, and has a couple of students. Actually, Aaron and Taylor Doucette this morning will be running a torch from here down Pleasant Street and upstairs road to Jungle Gyms to represent and hopefully promote what we're here for today. We're here for what's called Step by Step and how it all began. Step by Step has been leading the country when it comes to promote organ and tissue donation. And that's why we're here. We're here to hear about how important that is. They're proud to celebrate their 10th anniversary. They have successfully completed 4 huge campaigns throughout Canada and one in Europe. George Marcello. George was born into a hard-working Italian immigrant family on July 27th in 1955 in Toronto. Growing up, he had a great passion for a lot of activities and sports and being involved in his local community, especially sports and recreation. However, as a child, he was plagued by some illnesses, chronic asthma, rheumatic fever, and he actually contracted hepatitis C as a 15-year-old. And some of this prevented him, I think, from reaching his full potential as an athlete. As a teenager, he struggled and battled with substance abuse. And as we all know, that's a huge demon in today's society. And his addiction, unfortunately, led him to jails and institutions. But on September 11th, in '86, so 21 years ago, by the grace of God, he left that life behind. And this major transformation in his life formulated his vision to teach all people how to achieve a healthier and holistic lifestyle. In the next 10 years, George and some of his childhood friends created and developed programs that help literally thousands of people overcome addictions. George's persistence and integrity has also led him to roles in the community. He's had such roles as outreach worker, coordinator, counselor, recreational manager, and visionary. And he went on to become a fitness promoter, and he founded the present charity Step by Step. George's story. 1992 is sort of the beginning. George discovered that he had liver disease, and he was given probably 2 years to live in 92. And in 94, he was on the waiting list for a liver transplant, but there weren't any livers. 2 days before what they had told him was his 2-year limit, he had an emergency phone call to report to the Toronto General and that there was a liver available for him to have a transplant. This was fortunate for him, but of course this was because there had been a tragic accident somewhere else in Canada where family and friends had lost somebody very dear to them. However, as a result of this, and as a result of his family being willing to have the organs donated, George received a liver transplant, and I believe 5 other people received transplants from that one individual that was tragically killed. About 2 weeks after he had his transplant, he was out of the hospital and back getting fit and realizing what he wanted to do. He was in the gym, he was training, and he kept asking himself every day, how is it that I'm still alive? How is it that I'm so lucky that I'm still alive? And he wanted to passionately show how thankful he was, and he wondered how he could show his family how grateful he was to have this organ transplant and still be alive. I think it's difficult for us, most of us at least, to kind of put yourself in those shoes, but imagine how powerful that must have been, those feelings. What was he supposed to do? Well, in 1996, he had what he called the vision. During a North American convention in Montreal, he experienced a fantastic vision. In this vision, he saw himself building a great event that would inspire many people. And he told some of his friends about it. And they thought he was a little bit crazy, but they sort of felt that maybe there was something great ahead. And at this time, he thought his mission was to address substance abuse and to try and eliminate this demon from society. But after listening to Whitney Houston, she had a song at the time, it's called Step by Step. He immediately started working on building this journey. Little did he know where it would lead. And that was the beginning of Step by Step. In 1997, so 10 years ago, our founder, liver recipient, George Marcello, who is here with us today, walked from Toronto to Ottawa. George walked around the province 2 years later in 1999 and inspired the premier of that province to allocate $120 million towards this issue, towards organ transplant issue. A year later, in 2000, George walked 12,000 kilometers over 769 days across Canada and inspired the Canadian government to allocate $20 million and inspired an audience with Pope John Paul II to support organ donation. In 2004, under Step by Step, George accompanied 14-year-old Kristopher Knowles, who also needed a liver transplant, across a 200-city tour across Canada, stopped in 200 cities, and it was called Kristopher's Wish. A year later, in 2005, under Step by Step, George organized a 5-country European tour. These countries actually lead the world in organ and tissue donation, and George met and gathered important information from health officials in these countries. During the end of the tour in France, George unfortunately had thrombosis and realized that he needed another liver transplant. In the middle of that summer in 2005, George was fortunate enough to receive his second liver transplant in Toronto on his 50th birthday. Less than 2 weeks later, he held a press conference at Queen's Park in downtown Toronto and urged the provincial and the Canadian governments to make organ and tissue donation a priority. In 2005-2006, George went on to conduct over a dozen press conferences regarding the opt-out system, donations after cardiac deaths, expense compensations for live donors, and funds for foreign surgeries. In 2006, just about a year ago, George once again walked from Toronto to Ottawa for a mother of 2 people who needed a liver transplant. In total, George completed 15,000 kilometers. In 2007, George is now doing his next campaign, which is a cross-country torch relay for awareness on organ donation. He's going to several towns and communities and cities and getting individuals in those communities that are runners to carry the torch. And he's going to tell you a little bit about that today, so I'd like you to please join me in giving a warm welcome to George Marcello.
Thank you. Everything that Bobby Lou, sorry. I'm thinking of, what was it, the Hillbillies or something, it was about it. But, sorry. All the information that she said about me is on our website, because I really believe in like telling the truth. You know, there shouldn't be anything that we've done. If we've made mistakes, you know, we should realize that we made mistakes and then try and move on after that. But if you don't admit the mistakes that you've made, you're going to get stuck in that mistake. So that's why we put out that information on the website, to let everybody know like exactly where I came from and how my life got transformed, and how we're here today doing what we're doing. And what we're doing today is extremely important. And here's an opportunity right now, because there's close to 700 people here, it looks like. Here's an opportunity right now to do something that can make such an impact throughout Canada. If I can get everybody's attention right now to understand why we're here doing what we're doing, and to understand it, and to try not to forget about it, and then to carry on, we could make a difference in the lives of like thousands of Canadians. And I want to start off by you know, showing you this torch and why we're using this torch. As you heard, in 2000, you know, we lighted this torch in Toronto during my Canada walk. And on that day that we did the walk, on June 20th, 2000, we lit it under the memory and dedicated it to, you might not know who this person was because you're a little bit young, but his name was Victor Davis, and he was an Olympic champion swimmer in the 80s. And he won more gold in swimming championships, Olympic championships, than any other Canadian. And he actually broke the mold when it came to being a champion. And his motto was, go all the way or stay home. And shortly after he won these medals, he got into a terrible car accident and lost his life. And his family donated his organs. And on that day, on June 20th, 2000, his dad and his brother were there. And as I started the walk across Canada, we dedicated this torch to his memory. And we were hoping that through the power of his memory and his can-do attitude, we were hoping that for the next following years that we would try and get this message out to every Canadian, and not have people that are waiting for these gifts die and while organs are going to waste. So it was during that day that this torch was dedicated, and after that many people had come up to wanting to carry this torch. There was people on the waiting list when I was going through these communities. We had all kinds of people that were coming out to carry the torch in the hopes that people would listen to this message and that they would understand the importance of becoming an organ donor. And then finally I got the call from Vatican City during halfway across my tour that His Holiness Pope John Paul II heard what I was doing and wanted me to come to Vatican City. And when I got that original phone call, at first I thought it was my friend Billy pulling a prank on me, you know, disguising his voice like a Polish guy. And then I found out it was the real thing, and here I am passing this torch to Pope John Paul II. Now, I want to state the following words, because when the Pope received this torch, he went on to state that organ and tissue donation is a genuine act of love. And he encouraged the entire world to become organ donors. And he went on to mention to make sure that this torch keeps getting relayed. And that was in 2001, and since that day, that's what we've been doing. And that's when I met Kristopher, who needed a liver transplant, and he was 10 years old at the time that I met him during my walk, and he carried it during that time. And little did I know that one day he was going to carry it across Canada himself. So as you can see, this torch has a lot of significance. It's got a lot of power in it, it's got a lot of love, and that's why we wanted to construct this campaign, SOS4000, because what we've seen during the years that we've done this is that most of the students that we got involved with showed the type of love and passion that you don't see in adults. And it was that type of passion and enthusiasm that I seen in Kristopher and all the other students that were getting involved with this, that actually were making a difference and reaching the adults and reaching whoever else we had to reach in this country to start making a difference. So we organized a student torch relay so that we can get students from each community to now represent this issue. So Yarmouth is going to be represented by Aaron and Taylor, and that doesn't mean like after they do their event today, you know, we're going to forget about it. We're going to keep doing what we have to do the rest of the year until this torch gets relayed to 2 new students, to make sure that our #1 goal in Yarmouth is to inspire everybody in Yarmouth to become an organ donor. Now, do you think that's possible, to get everybody in Yarmouth to become an organ donor? It's going to be a lot of work. But I think the only way we can make this happen is through the students that are listening right now in this room. And if we can get that to happen, and then other communities see that Yarmouth has done that, we can solve this crisis. We can save every single person that's on that waiting list, and there's over 4,000. That's really how simple it is, but it's going to take a lot of work. So we're hoping that after we do this beautiful event today, that you're not going to forget about this. You know, that you'll remember what took place here today, and that you'll remember how important it is, and to think about becoming an organ donor, and to one day find a moment to share it with your family that you want to be an organ donor. And it's going to be through the students that we're going to solve this crisis, because we don't have to look for a cure. It's not like we have to look for some medicine or something in a laboratory to find out the cure. The cure is within us. So if we can get everybody to understand how important this is, we can solve this problem. So that's what we're hoping to do today, is to plant a seed. I want to introduce 2 very special guests that are going to talk before we get to Aaron and Taylor. And the first is a local person, and his name is Mr. Dion. He's well known in the area, and he's got a very interesting story to tell you. Mr. Dion, can you please come up here?
First of all, I'm not a motivating speaker like George is. I have just a little message. I know time is running short. Some few people have heard my name or have seen our trucks around. I've been a kidney recipient in December the 10th, 1997. I got a call at home in the middle of the night, waking up myself and my wife, quite excited that we was going to the VG and hopefully get a transplant. Well, as you well know, and probably some of you don't, when kidney disease or any disease strikes, it certainly slows down what you can do, your activities and everything, as George mentioned. But when you're stuck in a dialysis machine for 3 days a week, and your health is not in the greatest shape, you don't feel great. But after the transplant, so that means December the 10th, on 1997, someone could have lost their mother, their grandmother, or whoever it was just before Christmas. It was a lady, 51 years old. So what I got was the kidney out of the cadaver, and that changed my life around. And right now, I consider myself very lucky. I'm healthy. I can do what I normally want to do. I'm not a football player or anything runner like the boys are. But I enjoy the life I have right now. And I thank God that we have someone has chosen to give their organs, and it is a special gift. And once it hits your family or anybody that you know, whether it's young or old, it certainly changes your idea of what an organ can do to help other people. I will not take any longer in time. I appreciate your attention. And when you see my trucks around Yarmouth or these areas, you will see the logo that says, be a hero, be an organ donor. So remember, you are young, can happen to be young and old, but remember to talk to your family, and if you go back in history, some young girl, especially what I forgot her name, had already talked to her family about donating their organs when she was well and healthy as you guys are right now. Thanks a lot for your time. George is an inspiration for me, doing what he does, and I couldn't sit home on my butt without coming here to talk to you guys. Thanks a lot for your time.
And as I mentioned, during my walk, I met a 10-year-old boy in the year 2000, and he wanted to carry the torch in Sarnia because I was going through Sarnia, and you know, there was no indication whatsoever to me that this boy had any problems whatsoever, because he seemed so fit and everything. And at the end of the walk, he said, I gotta mention something to you. I've been needing a liver transplant since I was born, and I've gone through 20 operations. And then he went on to lift his shirt up, and he showed me all kinds of scars that were on his stomach. And he did this with a smile. And I thought, I just imagined all the suffering that he had to go through in those 10 years and not being able to live a normal life, and yet he was able to put a smile on his face. And so soon after that, he kept bothering me to do a walk across Canada. And Kristopher is an extraordinary boy, and he's starting to become a teenager now, but you know, he got my heart. And in 2004, we constructed Kristopher's Wish, where he did a 200-city walking tour across Canada, and he's still on the waiting list, but he's back out here on the road doing the SOS4000 because he wants to give his message to all the students and to let them know how important this issue is, and it's also his way of getting out of school too. So Kristopher,
Thank you, and almost good afternoon. My name is Kristopher Knowles, and I did do a walk across Canada about 3 years ago. I was carrying the torch of life right behind me, and because of that, I believe that the torch does save lives. When I was carrying it right across Canada, I got to do a lot of spiritual events and stuff like that, and so I'm still waiting on a waiting list for a liver transplant, and it's basically been 17 years now, and they said I could get it probably 10 years from now, anytime or whatever. I get sick, so just because of that torch, it's basically saved my life, and today I'm here in Yarmouth to pass it to Andrew and Tyler. Did I say it wrong? So I am now honored to actually pass the torch of life to your two representatives, Andrew and Tyler, and all I'd like to say to them is just Aaron and Taylor. Oh, that's pretty loud. Okay, sorry, Aaron and Taylor. So now I'm actually honored to pass it to them and just to tell them to carry it proudly, and they could also help save lives with SOS4000 and Step by Step. So can you please come up here and receive it? Also, I'd like to say, please don't take your organs to heaven. Heaven knows we need them here. Thank you.
How you doing, guys? Alright, it's an honor to run with this torch. We're going down to Jungle Gyms. One of my aunts, my dad's sisters, is actually needing a kidney too, so my dad's thinking about giving a kidney to her. I think you all should think about giving any organs. This is a big event, just think about it.
Running through town with the police escort, everyone watching us with the torch, a bunch of people honking, getting Yarmouth into it.
And just state your name and the school that you're from and what
Taylor
today is.
set, Yarmouth High.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was great running downtown. Everyone's beeping the horns, cheering. It's great to see everyone looking at us and then understanding what everything is all about. I'm Aaron Doucette from Yarmouth High School.
And do you have any encouraging words for all those future torch champions that are waiting to carry this torch?
They should really look into it, see what it's all about, and really try to get everyone to donate. It'd be a great thing.
Great. Thank you very much. You guys did great.